My name is Betty Lee, and I'm a history teacher, an ultimate frisbee player, and an amateur photographer. In America, the first thing people usually notice about me, though, is that I am Asian. More specifically, I am Asian American, born in the United States as the daughter of 2 Taiwanese immigrants. When people in America hear me speak English, they sometimes wonder, if you're Asian, why do you speak such good English? On the other hand, here in Taiwan, when people hear me speak Chinese, they often wonder, 如果你是台湾人，为什么你的中文听起来这么奇怪? The answer to both of these questions is the same. I am Asian American. My story describes my struggle to fit in as an Asian or American before my moment of enlightenment, that where I feel most at home is between the 2 worlds. Growing up in a suburb of Wisconsin, I had no clear idea of what it meant to be Asian American. I felt I was neither fully American nor fully Asian. Rather, I felt like I was the rope in a tug-of-war contest between the 2 cultures. As a child, I learned to sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star and 两只老虎. In my free time, I loved to play card games like Solitaire and 大老二. As I drifted off to sleep, stories about Disney princesses and Sun Wukong wove themselves into my dreams. Yet, outside of my home, my 2 worlds were almost completely separate. On Sundays, my family attended a church full of Chinese and Taiwanese immigrants, and I hated it. I hated spending all day in a place that seemed so out of place in America. I hated that my parents would always compare me to my peers. Most of all, I hated Chinese school, where we seemed to spend more time trying to hide from our Chinese teacher than actually learning Chinese. My world from Monday through Saturday was totally different. At school, in my neighborhood, and on TV, the vast majority of the people I saw and interacted with were white Americans. To me, this, not the Sunday church community, was the world I cared about. I desperately wanted to fit in, and by high school, I thought I had it all figured out. I made every effort to look and sound American, to throw away anything that might seem Asian or foreign about myself. When a group of Asian Americans began to attend my high school, I made every effort to distance myself from those Asians. If, heaven forbid, the topic of my Asianness came up, I was quick to dismiss or ridicule my own culture. My classmates and I would even joke that I was a Twinkie or banana, yellow on the outside but white on the inside, and that was meant as a compliment. From my story so far, some of you may be thinking, man, if Miss Lee really hates being Asian and Asian people so much, why would she move across the world to a country full of Asian people? The answer to this question can be found in my story of enlightenment, as my identity transformed from wishing that I could be white to embracing my Asian Americanness. Keep in mind that this was by no means an overnight transformation. I didn't wake up one day and suddenly become proud of being Asian American. Instead, it was a process that took many steps and many years. First, be self-aware. For me, the first step was to identify and understand my own beliefs and feelings. As I thought back to my experiences with race in America, I realized that I had a strong belief that being Asian somehow made me less American, and that to be accepted as a true American, I needed to sacrifice parts of my Asian identity for a white identity. With this knowledge about myself in mind, the next step for me was to take a risk, to put myself in a situation where my beliefs could be challenged and changed. After initially distancing myself from the Asian Americans at UW-Madison, I left my comfort zone by joining an Asian American organization, the very group of people I had sought to avoid in high school. I was surprised to find that I soon fell in love with this community. We found that our experiences growing up as Asian Americans were very similar. Together, we shared stories, languages, and food from our individual cultures, while also redefining the term American to include all of us. In this space, I finally felt at home. Some of these new friends became my mentors on my path to enlightenment. They are incredible women who embrace their identities, are passionate about changing the world, and are just so, so cool. I was amazed that they would spend countless hours getting to know me, sharing their stories, and encouraging me to grow. They helped me set goals in my life and checked in with me to help me reach them. As we grew in friendship, I saw in them the hope of who I might someday be. Although my mentors offered me valuable advice and knowledge on my journey, I realized that enlightenment ultimately needed to be the result of deep personal reflection and a willingness to change. When I think of the word reflection, I imagine a mirror. I use my personal quiet times to take a long, hard, honest look at the different parts of my life. Not only my failures and my struggles, but also the celebrations and growth. Usually, I process through my feelings and thoughts through daily journaling. Every night before bed, I spend some time writing about my current life, about where I've been, and about where I want to be. Sometimes, especially when I feel overwhelmed, I find peace as I reflect silently in the beauty of nature. Finally, I realized that there is more to being enlightenment than just being enlightened. Although gaining knowledge of ourselves and our worlds are important, sharing this knowledge with others is equally significant. For me, my moment of enlightenment came as I realized that I may never fully feel at home in either world. Instead, I found myself a new home on the bridges I build between them. As I've occupied the in-between space between worlds, I felt myself growing in my ability to connect people, places, and cultures, even within my own biracial family. As I live my life, I continue to look for places where I can build bridges and spread light. Last year, this desire to take risks and find enlightenment led me to fly across the globe to Taiwan, a place full of words I cannot read or write, millions of people I do not know, and a job with new students. And I love it. I love practicing and learning new words in Chinese. I love meeting new people. Most of all, I absolutely love the students here at Fuxing. Here I have new opportunities to learn about myself, to take risks, to learn from new people, to think deeply about my life, and spread light to others, including you. So my invitation to all of you is to find your own enlightenment. First, begin by growing an awareness of yourself. Ask yourself hard questions. What are you known for? What do you wish to be known for? Is there anything you would like to change about yourself? Some of you are like me, exploring what it means to live in an in-between space as you speak to each other in Chinglish and dream of your future lives in America. Others of you may be hiding parts of your identity that you're afraid to show others. Still others of you have big questions about life that you hope to answer. Second, take a risk and be willing to have your mind changed. Challenge yourself to interact with people, places, and ideas that may be outside your comfort zone. Imagine how your life might change if you were to embrace this challenge. Recognize that as you take risks, you will sometimes fail, but these failures also offer you valuable opportunities for growth. Third, as you journey on this path, surround yourself with people who inspire you, whom you look up to, and whom you trust. Ask yourself how you can get to know these people better so they can positively influence your life. You could start a lunchtime group with your teacher where you spend time talking about your life. Or you could ask an older sibling, a former or fellow Fuxing student, or someone in your community to share a meal or coffee. Ask them both silly and deep questions, and share honestly about your life. Fourth, be reflective. Find a time and a space to think deeply about your past, your present, and your future life. Maybe it's in your bed right before you fall asleep. Maybe you have a favorite coffee shop or a place in nature. Take time to unplug from any distractions and hold a mirror up to your life. Look carefully to see where you're still growing and celebrate how far you've come. And finally, spread your light. Share your own enlightenment, your ideas, your hopes, your dreams with others, and watch as they spread and multiply. Though your moments of enlightenment may seem small, even a small flame spread from person to person can soon light up the whole world. Thank you, everyone. 谢谢大家。